anything we'll get through this time. Of course, Camille was banned last time, which I did really want to see, and has been banned again, unfortunately. It's just exceptionally strong in this patch. This is not the patch she's been nerfed, so she's still ridiculous. Lee Sin, banned, of course, against Broxah, has been his star pick throughout the entire tournament. Syndra, Cassiopeia aimed at the mid lane, and then Rengar at Taiki.
So this is Ivern or Ryze is the position that Fnatic Academy are putting Forge in right now. Either Ivern gets banned, they pick Ryze, or Ryze gets banned and Ivern comes out. Ivern is another very strong jungler that we haven't seen in this best of 5, but has been seen in CSQs, and it's off the table. So, I mean, if Jizuki wants to Ryze, it's there for him.
Yep, first pick, pretty much a no-brainer. And will be picked up. Okay,
it's happening again.
Yeah, I mean, same side, same draft for the start of this one. Poppy and Zyra. If the Ashe was okay. Same
is this
draft.
actually going to be the same draft?
This is the same draft and the same rotation.
So it can't be Cassiopeia here. So Fnatic Academy have to pivot away from that. Will they pick up the Elise and just go for the same strat early on?
Oh, Orianna.
Okay.
Well, there's the Ezreal. That is the same.
Orianna, okay, not quite as good a matchup into Ryze. Still solid. Still, it should be able to hold her own and have that late game presence in team fights and skirmishes that Cassiopeia can. So still the same kind of building blocks. For Fnatic Academy, if they get the Elise, now I'm like, are they actually just going to do exactly the same start again?
And if it ain't broke, yeah, like...
I suppose so.
Just draft the same thing, right? And for Team Forge, it was just like, okay, if we don't get cheesed, then... Alright, okay. So, Maokai into the top lane, but also the Kha'Zix into the jungle.
Okay, I've been looking forward to some Kha'Zix. I still think you can play Elise here for Broxah. I think that's still going to be the pick. But Kha'Zix is a pick that when we were preparing for IWCA, everybody was giving me, a little bit of, shtick. That's the word. Just for like my thoughts on Kha'Zix, where I think that he has the potential to go huge in games. He has decent clear. The reset potential is the same as Kha'Zix always had, and depending on how he upgrades and where he goes, if you fight him and you're isolated in the jungle, I mean, which unfortunately Elise very rarely is. Yep. Generally, he has such good damage. So he can snowball, but there's the Elise, so Spiderlings and
very rarely
all that jazz.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
but we have seen some Kha'Zix over the last couple of weeks, including IEM, which I was at in Korea, and he was doing pretty well. He's kind of like back when Hecarim was coming into the meta, where it's just like seems really good in like scrims, where it's just like you get really fed and then you run after people and they're just going to instantly die. Yeah. Sometimes that happens if you have a really good early game, and Kha'Zix will just kill everybody. But getting to that point is rather hard, so he needs to really have a good early game to make that impact, but we've seen it happen multiple times in the last couple of weeks.
And he certainly is a champion that can have that good early game as well, so I'm interested. I really want to see if Taiki can go off on this and get himself a good platform for Jizuki, and maybe we won't see the bot lane die at 2.5 minutes in for Forge.
That would be nice.
We'll actually get to see an even bot lane.
I think they just won't push forwards this time because they were so far pushed up. It was just like, haha, our opponents aren't in lane. Maybe they're somewhere in like top lane or something.
We
Great.
can take the advantage.
We'll go to the tower. There's Elise here. So probably won't happen this time, but what it will give Fnatic, regardless of that, will probably be a very fast early game for Elise. We'll be able to clear the jungle very quickly, using the same strategy, right? Tanking with the plants, tanking with the Spiderlings, and actually getting through that jungle. So regardless of whether he goes for that bot lane gank, he'll be very fast through the jungle. Yeah,
exactly. I'm really anticipating now Fnatic. They're playing a similar strategy to their last, pick and ban phase. They've got the Orianna instead of Cassiopeia, so a little bit of a difference in that one for Forge. Again, very similar. I feel like I kind of prefer, maybe it's just me, prefer the Kha'Zix over the Trundle.
There's a bit of bias there.
Don't know everybody would prefer that, but I know, Trundle jungle isn't seen too often either, but this bot lane, I want to see it have an even start. I want to see what Gary and Maka can do. I want to have them test it out a little bit more.
It's been fine against other opponents who aren't maybe of the same caliber as Mr. Ralaz and Clyde, but maybe it's just because they're on a different level, including that first blood. So maybe they can go even, and that's a lane that definitely can go even, like Ashe and Miss Fortune into this matchup specifically can at least go even, even if they don't pick up a kill onto Zyra, at least burn her flash from an ultimate, something like that.
Right, it's always going to be difficult to kill the Ezreal as well, but Clyde, he's the one that you can pick off. So that's going to be our main focus, I think, for this game. That's,
for sure.
that's
At least
where...
the early game until something else happens.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're following Broxah around as well. Going to see where he ends up going.
Yeah, because he will be the one who will be dictating the early pace of the game. But once again, use the hashtags 4GWin and hashtag FNAWin. Show your support on Twitter. Tell us what you think is going to happen in this series. We know first game, of course, went to Fnatic, so just need 2 more wins to secure their spot in EUCS Spring 2017. And we are on to the rift once more for Team Forge and Fnatic Academy. Eyes will be focused on the bot lane, but want to look at that mid lane as well, because Jizuki, if he gets fed, which is a matchup that he can maybe get more fed in, because Cassiopeia is significantly worse for him, because if he wants to all in, oh, I have to face my opponent into Cassiopeia, not so great. So we saw that happen a couple times in the last game, where he went for that trade and instantly got Petrifying Gaze and died. So in this one, a little bit better against Nisqy.
Yeah, a bit better. Now as we watch the level 1 play out, Rallis and Clyde did take damage down there. Because the Spellthief's Edge goes on cooldown, Maka will know that that is where they were. That was the whole point of using Make It Rain at that point. Clyde gets nothing on his check, but obviously does force Maka away from the bush. But what this essentially creates for Fnatic Academy is a bit of a bubble around the bottom side where they have presence, they can deny any ward attempts to, you know, spot Forge coming up to stop that play. You can see Broxah is on the top side of the map. I don't think he's been spotted yet by Taiki. That ward I don't believe sees him. Oh yeah, he did. He got pinged on. So they will see that Broxah is top side of the map. Can't make it down towards the bottom side. And it should be given away by Kikis ending up coming back into lane. That Kikis has helped Broxah top side. So bot can play a little bit more risky now.
So is there any reason why Broxah has decided to start topside, other than maybe looking for a bot lane gank a little bit later? Because it seemed like the start was so good, regardless of whether you were going to go for that level 3 gank in bot lane. It's
likely that Fnatic Academy just want to switch it up a little bit. Keep Forge guessing. I mean, it's a strong start to go into you know, the play they did last time. You can see it's red now going towards Wolves. So it is still a little unorthodox compared to what we have seen out of you know, people again and again looking off that Krogs to go topside previous you know, in competitions gone by. So I wonder where Brox is actually going to end up. This was about the time that he was already coming down to Tribush, but it has been warded. That's another really important thing, is they saw Maka drop back in the lane. You can kind of infer that that ward has been placed.
The other great thing is there's been a ward in the mid lane as well, so there's no way for him to make his way into that jungle and even loop all the way around, because sometimes that ward isn't even enough. It's like not enough of an early warning system. It's just like, oh, there's a jungler, but we're too far pushed up anyway, so we are going to get ganked and die. So at least that is something that's there. But however, it has just expired, and Broxah's going to see that with the rubble there on the ward. So Taiki doesn't know he's there. Flash. Oh, the flash into the cocoon onto a minion, though. And this time, history does not repeat itself. Jizuki will stay alive for this mid lane gank, and Taiki avoids spikes onto Broxah as he backs away into his jungle. So significantly better for a start for Team Forge in this one.
That's painful. That's pretty painful for Broxah. That flash used already. He did get the ghost out from Jizuki, so we'll see whether he comes back around. Taiki's still in this lane, though, so it's a 2v2. No one's really going to do too much here. And you can see now, look at the lane presence that's coming out from this Misfortune from the bottom side. Just the damage alone is enough to push Rallis back in the lane. Maka hits level 3 around about the same time as well. So again, just so much presence coming down, as Mr. Rallis and Clyde have not had the same start that they did in the previous game.
Yeah, this is what is meant to happen with the Ashe and Misfortune lane.
And it's so much so that Rallis has already had to use his health potion. Like, this is going to have to be a fairly early recall for Mr. Rallis to try and get the tier and get health potions again. Otherwise, he's going to be sat so far back in lane, he'll just have to farm with the Mystic shots. So has to be very careful here. Taiki's coming around the side as well. Of course, Kha'Zix can get some interesting gank paths off, but hitting the Scryer's Bloom will kind of give him away.
We'll give him a bit of information as well for where Broxah is, or is not. I was thinking about maybe a bot lane gank, but they all pushed up into tower, and no one's low enough for him to assassinate. Also, they are close to their tower as well. Broxah walks into the top lane, has been pinged out by 4G, who have seen him on that ward. Will head down. Nothing really to take on the top side apart from that Grump, really. Or just phase where both junglers are trying to open something up for their laners.
And a lot of this has been the laners playing fairly smart around where the enemy jungler could be. You can see Nisqy drop back in the lane, allowed Jizuki to push the lane out towards him. It did mean that Jizuki got a recall off and was able to pick up that tier for himself. So it hasn't been the most punishing start for Nisqy, but he does have himself a bit of a CS lead now and gets the recall for himself. So Jizuki will even that up himself. Still pressure on that bottom side.
Nice bit of damage there from Clyde, but for the most part, this is why that lane of Ashe and Misfortune is very annoying to play against when you're playing the Zyra into it without that first gank. Top lane, not a lot going on, honestly. Nice first back from Beansu is in the perfect position, so if there was any time to punish as the Maokai into the Poppy, is kind of now, but can't even really break the shield, so.
Didn't use TP for it, is the other thing.
Yep.
So unlike the last game where Beansu used his TP fairly early on, Kikis now has a CS advantage, but a laning disadvantage when you take into account the additional items that Beansu's picked up, but Beansu lost a lot of his health coming back into the lane with a trade that went awry again. So for Fnatic Academy, it's a slower start. Now we get to see how do they play when they're not significantly far ahead. It's just, you know, the ebb and flow of CS leads going back and forth right now that has them with a slight lead.
As we were saying in the last game, Fnatic do very well when they're ahead or even. When we have seen them very far behind, we saw them get crushed, so Fnatic just need to avoid that in the early game. They probably should be good to go. Taiki finding Broxah. Lots of damage coming in from Taste Their Fear. And Jizuki also there to help him out. Big ultimate comes in. Broxah jumps in. That'll be the lives traded of the junglers. Mocha being chased down. Kalai, the last auto attack. Not quite enough. Jizuki unable to get in range of Nisqy. He did have his flash, but so did the Orianna. That will result in a 1-for-1.
Yeah, Nisqy so low that Clyde doesn't want to continue that fight. Can't really get enough damage out on his own. You can see how low Mocha dropped from that as well. So importantly, Taiki found Broxah when he was still in human form. So no real, turnabout from that. The Spiderlings weren't around either to keep himself, away from Isolated. So that massive damage that comes out early on was felt. But Taiki had to flash in, had to expend quite a lot to try and get himself on the board. And results in a 1-for-1 overall.
And it does. So we'll see that once more with this guy coming in, and it was set up by Taiki over the wall, and nice lockdown from Jizuki, but up into the air.
Yeah, WQ ends up dealing a lot of damage. So Taiki actually flashed forward to avoid the shockwave, which ultimately ends up killing him, but got the kill in exchange for it as well. You can see, look at how Cly wants to push forward, still has full health, but Nisqy way too low, hovering around 200 health, was not able to keep himself, in a safe position.
If he didn't flash there, he may have not even picked up that kill into Broxah.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
Looking at it the second time, definitely gets the kill from that. So Taiki,
good flash.
Well, at least it was the assist. It was
Yes.
Jizuki that picked up the kill.
Indeed, indeed. So 1-to-1 in this game. A little bit more even. Fnatic still with the advantage though, coming out from just the farm in the mid lane.
And a significant farm advantage for Broxah.
And in a
Look
jungle.
at that, 42 to 17 CS. I mean, you know, Kha'Zix does have an okay clear. Was made, a little tougher by the addition of a few more camps.
Some
so
of that's
the
got to be
damage.
from lanes, but I
Surely,
haven't seen him in lanes. Because everyone's just kind of been laning, So, because you do get more from the bigger camps, like from Raptors, from the Wolves and stuff. So there are more things to kill, and also if you take Krugs, but has a lot. So I might go back and take a look at his jungle pathing, because that is a big advantage over Taiki.
It is. It meant Broxah hit level 6 a fair amount quicker than Taiki. Of course, Taiki's is more influential. Has evolved Taste Their Fear. So that means if he finds an isolated target, gets that Q, gets a fair amount of that cooldown back. Now becomes the time where you really don't want to find Kha'Zix in the jungle on your own. You tend to end up losing that fight. Again, it's kind of still the E is the second upgrade to get the evolved leap.
Yep. For the resets.
There were a couple of people toying with actually
W.
and also the ultimate.
Because they were talking about how, if you use it right, it can work out really well. But I think people were pushing the boundaries of how much you can do with that. And was like, probably not worth it.
They're like, if you move from brush to brush all the way up to a lane, like
it
with Ivern support, no, it's there was a time where people were trying that out, trying to get as much as they could from that. But certainly people have settled on the Q evolution first. Broxah gets that mana back. Don't ask me how that works, but it's good for you. So
there we go. Eat your 5 a day, etc. So yeah, I just watched Broxah go for his jungle, and it was pretty much just from farming. He was farming at the same time as Taiki and just farmed faster. So there is a bit more AoE, of course, in that kit from the Volatile Spiderling versus Taiki just hitting it with the Void Spikes. But that was kind of interesting to see how fast he farmed.
Broxah's on a ward. He's trying to clear out the control ward. Oh, dodges
nice
everything.
Dodge into Spider Form, into Repel. That was very well played actually from Broxah. That was frame perfect, if you will.
That was nice.
That was good. And he got the ward as well. There you go. What a play.
Ends up being worth.
It's the little things. It's the little things in a game like this where you're 10 minutes in, 2 kills have gone down, no dragons. Gotta get hyped about something.
Yep, first Ash Arrow missing. That's something to get hyped about.
Or not hyped about if you're a Forge fan, unfortunately. The first of many I have to kill. That's a little bit cruel, but looking at Gary's track record of...
he hit a couple in the last game.
He hit that good one onto Broxah near the Baron. Didn't result in anything, though, but we'll see. He has a chance at redemption in this game and more targets for him to hit this time. So
we've crested a century's worth of CS up in the top lane, and still there's not been a further recall after the first one. Both have gone over 100. Kikis doesn't need items in his mind. But again, we're looking at the impact of the Zyra, the Elise, and assistance on that Dragon. First Infernal goes to Fnatic Academy. Deja vu of the first game in this series. Although a lot slower.
Significantly so. Not going to hit those 5 dragons this time. That was the big thing in the last game.
5 a day.
5 a day? Yeah, no. 5 dragons a day keeps, I don't know, the losses away, question mark? Like, bronze 5 away. There you go.
I don't know, in a best of 5, 5 dragons isn't much.
No, it isn't. But we've seen many dragons before in the CS Finals stress.
At that point, it's kind of like 5 a day keeps Challenger away. That's
true.
Point.
Or LCS qualification of your, what was it, Diggy You and Mouse.
That game. That game took years
like
off my life.
30 dragons. That was before it was Elemental Dragons as well. What a series. This has been significantly more exciting at 2 kills at 11 minutes than that series. Would recommend you go back and watch that one. That was one for the ages.
Maybe if you have insomnia, and you want to count dragons,
like yeah, that's actually really good. I know people, often listen to podcasts. That series will just do it for you. Just listen to that one before you go to sleep. Perfect. Yeah, it's really a variety show here on Challenger. That's what we're really looking for.
You look at it, the team that was Team Dignitas EU at that point, Splyce, they get into LCS, go all the way through, go to Worlds.
Yeah. And it all started on taking way too many dragons in one series. the foundation that any good team needs.
All we needed to do was change dragons into elemental dragons and Splyce.
It's funny to go back and look at series like that. It's like, this is a combo. Goodbye. Oh, Kai jumps away. Nice sidestep with a flash there. Thought he was dead for sure.
Heal was used by Rallis top side. Good
what a cocoon. And an ultimate from Kikis. He's some really pixel perfect aiming of these skill shots. So, well played to Fnatic.
A lot of almost kills around the map. Jizuki nearly died in the mid lane as well. Klai forced to flash away bot side. But this time, it's the bot tower of Fnatic Academy that's getting eroded down. Mr. Rallis is here on his own. Has already used his ultimate on the last wave. So this is a lot of damage going down. Of course, the having Ashe and Miss Fortune means that you can push towers very quickly. So Forge are in a good position on this one. Kikis is going to TP in. He has got Broxah around, so this isn't the Wonder TP where...
No, not today. He was maybe trying to bait in the Wonder TP. Maybe like, all right, fight me, and then Broxah's there to finish him off. But this is a pretty good start for 4G. We'll be taking this bottom tower.
Yeah, Klai abandoned the tower on the bottom side, as did Mr. Rallis. He realized it was going down very quickly, so Fnatic Academy cutting their losses on that one, give away tower first blood, move up to the top side of the map now to try and alleviate some of the pressure that was being put onto Kikis. Realm Warp comes out. Jizuki's looking for Klai. Flashes doesn't get the vision.
Ambitious flash, ultimate, Stranglethorns comes down, will knock up Taiki or not knock up Taiki, flash on the wall, little switcheroo from Kikis there, Klai getting chased down by Bintu, maybe the other way around, Cocoon comes out, Broxah, the execute damage there from the Q, lots of damage coming out, Broxah taken out though by Jizuki, that'll be a 1-for-1 trade, Kikis looking for blood, looking for something, but he'll jump away with the heroic charge. And Nisqy finally finds himself at the top lane. So all in all, just a 1-for-1.
And that's the obvious benefit of... Whoa, hang on.
Not onto the perfect target, gotta be honest. But
not sure what the benefit of whoa is,
yeah.
but we both were on the same page on that. But
on the same wavelength.
The benefit of that Realm Warp, obviously...
Where are you going with this one,
hang on, Taiki. I'm going up to top lane.
We're not going to top lane. Kikis, whoa, perfect positioning. Not from Taiki, but from Kikis. Taiki, that was the worst place he could have been. Both helped Kikis get to safety and died.
Yeah, I was watching top lane, so that's why I was forgetting how to talk. So the obvious benefit of Realm Warp is able to get up there earlier. Obvious is obvious. No teleport coming out from Nisqy, so Nisqy late to the party. Good little steps by Clyde to begin this one off. He's still having visions of the last game where he's just getting flashed on the entire time. Ends up with Beansu flashing onto him. Beansu steps way too far forward at this point and is able to be taken down by Fnatic Academy. And still got to be careful of the damage that comes out from Taiki. Broxah was too low. Kikis comes up from the bottom side here. And this play continues after Nisqy ends up there and Taiki steps way too far forward himself. So again, a little bit of an overstep at the end of it by Forge, but they are still ahead when it comes to the gold. That first Tower Blood is playing into their favor.
It's true, and by putting their duo lane in the top lane, a little bit faster as well than Mr. Rallis and Clyde, maybe they can take down the tower, at least put a bit more damage onto it, because it is down to about a quarter HP. So they put some resources up there. That could be a bit more gold injection into the total gold. Mid lane, Nisqy jumping onto Jizuki. He's very low, though, in terms of mana.
Oh, bot side. 2v1 here.
It is Kikis, though.
Kikis is isolated.
Yeah, he is isolated, taking a lot of damage. He's trying to get away. This is going to be a long one.
He's still
Taiki,
fighting.
Very low himself. This could be a kill return. Taiki with the last Q will finish off Kikis.
Kikis nearly got the knockup on the ultimate then. That was a 2v1 that was way closer than that should have been, considering, you know, the strength of an Kha'Zix against an isolated target. That was a significant amount of damage that Kikis put out. That one missed. Turrets fall.
He's going for someone else, don't worry. Didn't hit the Maokai. That was what he was looking for. His own Maokai, of course. Mid lane tower goes down to Fnatic, evening up the towers, but also a more valuable one. Mid lane tower does open up a lot of map space for Fnatic to utilize. And we're feeling pretty happy with that result. Taiki, again, trying to find some isolated targets in the jungle, but even Zara makes it tricky with those plants. Crab Bro as well will be unfortunately walking towards Team Forge, who will most likely take this one away. Infernal Dragon has just spawned. Hello, Infernal Dragon, 2 in a row. Good day for Infernal Dragons. This is, what, our 5th, 4th? In just 2 games?
Maybe 5th, actually.
Yeah. Maybe.
Can't remember what Dragon
the last
5
one
was in the last game. I know they got 2 in that, so...
Okay, maybe down to a steal. No steal today. And it's just damage control already from Fnatic. Who can get out alive? Clyde not going to be one to get out alive. Neither will Broxah. So 2 deaths for the Dragon. Worth maybe. Oh, big ultimate out from Nisqy into the dissonance. Had there been anyone else to follow up, it would have been a kill. Rallis ultimate up soon, though.
And that is really going to deny any pushing potential that Forge were looking to have there. I think Fnatic Academy, because Forge didn't get any towers or anything from that, will probably take that trade. It's not a good trade in their favor, losing 2, but a second Infernal Drake is really going to accelerate this Ezreal, this Orianna, further and further into this game. So Fnatic Academy was a fairly clean take on the Infernal Drake, but it was the exit plan that wasn't quite there for them. Broxah drops very low, again dodges out with the repel, very nice timing, but falls right into a couple of members. Clyde on this Zyra, I mean, he's doing what his team needs him to do, but it is not looking good for any KDA in these games. He is so squishy that he's just getting taken out time and time again. So despite creating the opening for the rest of Fnatic Academy to get away, they still lose 2. Maka, careful in the mid lane.
Taking 1 for the team. And Maka will have to, again, burn that flash, but that is kind of comes with the territory of playing support Misfortune. No innate escapes apart from running quite quickly when you're out of combat. Fnatic just controlling again the bottom side of the map, trying to find something from Team Forge. Or maybe Kikis, just finding Maka once again. The Hammer Shock and the auto attack should be enough to finish him off. Alright, just going to ult him for dramatic effect.
For the win. Oh, Beansu got caught.
Cocoon, CC chain, flash out by Beansu. Again, the ultimate in from Mr. Rallis. And another kill to Fnatic. So I was also a tower as well, so in pretty good shape. Mid tower completely exposed, but they do not have a lot of time to take this tower though.
Yeah,
Kikis
Kikis is on his way.
Realm
Realm
Warp.
Warp out. Okay.
Not going to get the tower, unfortunately, but did escape with their lives. So they are good for now.
It's good damage done. The mid tower is actually the one thing that's kind of swinging this game between the two. Forge, despite having a lead and despite having a good early game, they've been unable to move properly into Fnatic Academy's territory, mainly because the mid tower still stands, whereas Forge don't have theirs. So actually crossing the river, getting themselves into the Fnatic jungle is so difficult and so risky that it has really stemmed their acceleration of their lead. They are still in a decent spot. This is roughly the kind of lead that Fnatic Academy had in the first game, a little bit shy of that, so we'll see what Forge can do with it.
Gary, of course, in a much better position, has not died yet into this game. Doing really well on farm, sat on a full item and a half, pretty much over a half on that Infinity Edge. Last game, he was pretty much on Berserk Greaves and a pickaxe at this point in the game. So feeling much happier about his life.
Yeah, it was kind of rough in the first game. Of course, those two Infernals now from Fnatic are going to play into things. Jizuki is one versus the world up in top side.
Lots of damage onto Klai, and Taiki's going to finish him off despite the exhaust. Jizuki still alive! Oh! Mystic Shot does not connect! And he'll escape with his life. The kill to 4G. And that's just a win over to them.
You can see the crowd applauding Jizuki.
Oh, really confused. I was like, I'm pretty sure we're in a studio with no people right now. I was like, producer hitting the soundboard? Like, I actually did not know what that was.
I can throw my voice to sound like a crowd full of people
at
that point.
But very impressive life skill.
Klai could not throw himself into the fight fast enough, got picked off going through Tribush, runs into that Kha'Zix that has the evolved claws. Ooh, that's a lot of damage.
Broxor was 4 HP a couple seconds ago, ticking down from the red buff. Not quite enough damage. It was actually challenging Smite there, not even the red buff from Taiki. Almost killed his quarry. Unfortunately, will die himself.
Very interesting. Taiki has not evolved Leap with his second evolution. Taiki has evolved Void Spikes, but Ralez is very low.
He's the one we need to be talking about. Jizuki, he's leading the charge here with Gary and Mocha in a hot pursuit, but here's Beansu with the flank. Nice. The out-thrown Kikis may have just saved the lives of his squishies there. So, well played to Kikis. Yeah, back to the Kha'Zix point.
Taiki says he doesn't want an escape from the fight. He wants the extra health regeneration and the slow that comes from... see, there is the slow in action. If you find an isolated target with the improved Void Spikes, it just applies such a heavy slow. They took the slow off and then just put it on isolated targets, so it's significant if you catch somebody out. I don't know whether Klai really would get away even if the slow wasn't there.
I think his teammate killed him there because they hit the blast plant and then he flew into the Kha'Zix. I don't think he was the one to hit the plant. So no, I think regardless he was team killed.
Yes. Not often we can say that, but
yeah, it happens now with these plants. I guess there are a few abilities where you can do that now. You know, like putting people into stasis in the middle of an enemy team, or Jizuki putting people into enemy lines with his ultimate. Yeah. We have seen times where that's happened in competitive.
Speaking of ultimates, Gary's ultimate is so close to being up. Pair that with Taiki, and you have a Kha'Zix flying out of nowhere onto a stun target. Could be fatal for a member of Fnatic Academy.
Gary's accuracy has gone up this game for sure on those arrows. Unfortunately, a lot of them have gone onto Kikis, but...
At this point, I'm fairly certain it'll be fatal for Klai, because he has no flash. So if Klai even steps into vision on his own, and Taiki is anywhere near, then he's going to get jumped on.
I gotta be honest, not a great game to be playing Zyra when you're up against Kha'Zix, arrows coming out of nowhere, Jizuki who will one-shot you in a combo, and Beansu with a point-and-click CC. Just all-around bad news bears. Taiki will jump away from Niski. Still very scary in their own right. Fnatic are not that far behind in terms of gold, and remember they do have those 2 Infernal Dragons. So in team fights, still playing with caution. Jizuki starting off this dragon.
Wants to play jungler now instead.
Yeah. Done with mid lane.
Thinks he's got it. Fnatic should be able to take this, securing it for themselves from the steal. Oh, Jizuki got it!
Wait, what?
Jizuki got it with a Q!
I was looking at Taiki and it's like, no, he's just pulling out, he's just baiting. It's just like, yeah, random Q from Jizuki. I actually wonder how much damage was coming in from that Q.
So, Smite right now is doing 680. Q right now for Jizuki
empowered.
Theoretically is doing like about 300 maybe.
Okay.
So I'd love to see a bit of a slow bow.
Slow-mo.
bro. I'd love to see a slow bro over that.
Yeah. Maybe a slowpoke. Yeah, one of the two, really. Alright, I'm just watching the back of my screen. 537 out from Jizuki's Q, so very close
so
to
it was
Smite.
a lot more. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a little more forgiving.
Can't completely forgive him, though, because it still got stolen by the mid laner.
Clyde, no
Clyde, that's
flash.
exactly what you're talking about. Nowhere to go, no flash, and a fast kill to 4G, plus the mid lane tower. And this game is going significantly better for Team Forge this time around.
The funny thing about that one is that everybody put damage down onto Clyde and thought he was dead, so stopped. And Clyde just stood there on about 10 health in the mid lane. So this was the steal with the slow bro. 537.
So close.
Jizuki actually the slow king of Dragon steals.
Was, yeah. I wasn't certain if Roxar actually smited and then tried to execute with Q. That's what it looked like, because the animation for Venom Spike was coming in, so probably what he was looking for. And Jizuki, that small window he used, and opening up another window in the mid lane. Flash after Roxar, the points and click, Rune Prison, all result in yet another kill. And 25 minutes in, perfect time to maybe go for this Baron. Beansu started it off.
Much better game coming out from Forge. They were able to hold things even from the early onset. Now, Fnatic Academy going to try and hold on through this Baron attempt. They've kind of denied it. With Broxah not even alive, this is 4 versus 5 up on the top side, but everybody from Forge was a little bit low to start this one off. You can see Beansu's health, Taiki's health, Jizuki's health, as Fnatic Academy kind of retreat back off to their side, but they stopped the Baron.
They haven't. That's something that Fnatic will have to be very cautious of now that 4G did try and start it. They'll need to keep some vision around that area.
Are they going to go for it?
Maybe.
Fnatic Academy, everybody from Forge recalled.
They may have enough time. The first person there is going to be Mocha.
There's no smite yet for Fnatic Academy, but look at how quick this is going down. There's no way Taiki's going to get there in time.
Gone.
This is gone. Yeah, even just throwing ultimates at it to make sure they get it. Broxah puts himself into the pit.
Okay, no one actually decided to go up there. That could have been disastrous for Broxah. That would have actually been a big time loss as well for Fnatic. Very hard to push with 4 members. So 4G should have just stuck to their guns and carried on going. But they're good, they're good. So Baron now over to Fnatic. Big swing in this game, despite how it's been going so far for 4G. And all in all, that was just a really good timing play. But you can put a bit of that onus on 4G just recalling in plain sight.
A fair amount of onus on that. If you start the Baron and then the enemy team is there and you're seeing, you know, the likes of Zyra and all these shields and Kikis as a tank, you have to be wary that they might just start it off. I mean, everybody from Forge recalled. That is a big blunder from Forge, considering how far ahead they were in this game.
Oh, yeah.
The last couple of skirmishes went really well for Forge, picking up objectives from it, getting a dragon, getting kills. Just really backfires now, because it means that everything that Forge had built when it comes to momentum in this game has been stolen away by Fnatic Academy.
It's not all doom and gloom, though. Taiki is still massive, and he will blow up any squishy that happens to be isolated just a little in these fights if he catches anyone.
So will Jizuki as well. So Jizuki's in a good spot, has Needlessly Large Rod on top of most of his core, but these towers are going to die pretty quickly. And of course, Fnatic Academy were behind the curve on towers to begin with, so they're catching up on this now. Nearly evened up the goal.
Oh. Gary, got to be cautious of him later into this game. He is sitting on basically 3.5 items. It's pretty strong, but with this Fnatic lineup, as the arrow comes out onto Rales, instantly cleansed out of though. Kikis not really caring too much about this damage, but maybe carry a bit now. He's quite low.
Forge had a golden opportunity there. Look at the through the jungle. There's a few wards, I believe, that they could have TP'd Beansu in on. It's a little in an obscure place in just the nook on the top side away from blue, but Beansu did not TP in as soon as that arrow was fired. Fnatic Academy were fairly low, and if Beansu had been able to lock a couple of people down, Jizuki maybe coming in with his ultimate would have been enough to take them out. So a little bit of a missed opportunity from Forge, playing more on the back foot than they have been in this game so far. It is predominantly because of that Baron buff that was taken by Fnatic Academy.
Really is still within the realms of possibility for 4G to pick up this game, because if they had gone for a players, as you just mentioned, could have gotten that pick and try and make that happen. But regardless, I'm going to happen bot lane. Beansu and Kikis. Tanky as well. Given enough time, may be able to kill this Poppy. I'm just kind of coming into the bot side now. It's just the calm before the storm, before Fnatic look for another push.
I just wonder how much of a missed opportunity that is that Beansu didn't TP in. I mean, the Orianna ultimate whiffed. Fnatic were low health.
Oh, dangerous place for Clyde to be when Ash arrows up. But he's good. Oh, it just came up, literally as I was talking. Kikis trading into Beansu. Nothing really to say down there. But now that Fnatic's all going bot lane, if they could get a pick onto pretty much anyone in the jungle, would be big for them.
Jizuki's coming around the top side, can't quite find the angle to collapse. Rales, you know, pretty strong now with his items completed. Poppy ult whiffs too.
Misfortune ult, clearing out the way.
Oh, Rice is going right in. Who's stepping on it? It's Maokai.
Oh, here comes Engage from Team Forge. An insta-kill onto Maka, but also the kill onto Broxah. A fantastic shockwave from Nisqy, who opened up this fight for Fnatic. Kikis is still tanking up 3 players, keeping them all occupied. And even though Beansu felt like he was doing a good job, it's just not enough. Dual kill out there for Nisqy, and Kikis will find another. Gary, no support to help him now. Chase down for the triple for Nisqy. And that could be curtains on this game as well. From an initiate, that looked like it was going to go well.
That was the wrong warp pad for Maka. He wanted to send himself to level 8, ends up sending himself back down the pipeline because he TPs right into the middle of everybody on Fnatic Academy, warps right in, gets picked off, doesn't have any kind of potency on the Misfortune in the fight. It wasn't really the linchpin of the entire fight, but it's enough to just put Fnatic Academy straight through the base.
Yeah, we were talking about team kills earlier, Stress. That's definitely one I can put on Jizuki. Maka will be chased down, back for a final kill here. Fnatic onto the Nexus, and Deja Vu, they take game 2.
That Realm Warp at the end, it looked like it could have been good if it was Jizuki coming through with Beansu. Would have been great. Maybe. I think Jizuki could have got caught out there a little bit, but it's Maka. I would love to see how that actually went in the communication between the two, whether...
Probably something like, no, 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 no.
And then just him die. Appears.
So,
yeah, that was not the best Realm Warp at the end of it.
Yeah, I think even if it did go well, it was going to be an even fight at the end of it, but yeah, that kind of sucked.
Forge, they had such a good lead throughout the entire game. Then that recall was everything. Everything was just turned right around by the fact they recall away from Baron and just let Fnatic take it. They couldn't close the gap fast enough to be able to, you know, capitalize on Fnatic Academy four-manning a Baron 4v5. That shouldn't happen.
It was sad to see because there were so many good decisions made by Team Forge up until that point, but when you make one big blunder like that, it just throws all of those good plays out the window, and then you're stuck in a position once again where you're just one loss away from being eliminated and losing a chance of getting into the Challenger Series. And it really was, it was so close. Jizuki as well, and even like you look at Beansu, Taiki, and Jizuki, mainstays of Challenger. We've seen them like split after split after split, and this is one of the ones that they could realistically really not be attending. And it would be a big shock to the system if, you know, names like Kikis and Rales and Clyde didn't make it in as well. So regardless of who wins this series, there's lots of players who you would be surprised not to see in Challenger, really.
Yeah, that is very true. I mean, Taiki's performance in this game was better as well. I like the Kazakhs, I mean, just as a pick as well. But Broxah, on the other side from Fnatic Academy, a little bit more of a struggle. Just he was fairly slower in this game just because of the way the opening went. Got caught out a couple of times by Forge, but I liked what Forge were trying to do. Gary and Maka seemed a little bit more comfortable in the early part of the game, and then it just all goes wrong. The communication falls apart. Beansu's not TPing in when arrows come out. They back away from a Baron. They take the wrong Realm Warp into the middle of a fight, and it ends the game. Just like 3 pivotal communication errors from Forge completely erodes the entire lead that they got early on, and that's the kind of thing that you cannot afford to make mistakes like that.
But it is better.
It's
so
better.
Now it needs to be more better for game 3, because if it's not, then they just get eliminated. So it needs to get progressively better for the rest of this one.
Just like your grammar.
Just
Good job, we've got a break.
Just so I can read a dictionary. Perfect. 2 games down, and Fnatic are on match point. We'll see what happens next when we come back after this break, Stress. Loving kickers. Whoa, perfect positioning. And it's just damage control already from Fnatic. Who can get out alive? Klai not going to be one to get out alive. Neither will Broxah. So
Jizuki is one versus the world up in top side.
Lots of damage onto Klai. And Taiki's going to finish him off despite the exhaust. Jizuki still alive. Oh, Mystic Shot does not connect.
Fnatic should be able to take this, securing it for themselves from the steal. Oh, Jizuki got it!
Wait, what?
Jizuki got it with a Q! Oh, Rice is going right in. Who's stepping on it? It's Maokai.
Oh, here comes Engage from Team Forge. An insta-kill onto Mocha, but also the kill onto Broxah. A fantastic shockwave from Nisqy, who opened up this fight for Fnatic. Kickers is still tanking up 3 players, keeping them all occupied. Here, Fnatic onto the Nexus, and Deja Vu, they take game 2.